Regice looking for that lock-on farm down and hoping to nuke whatever's in the back. The opponent reaches the departing Hydro Cannon. Regice tanks the damage. What is that third? Oh no, trainer. Say it ain't so. Out comes Dragalge. Blizzard gonna almost one-shot. Regice gonna get that lock-on farm down. Welcome back to the channel. Firstly, let's get the housekeeping out of the way. Do not forget to remove frustration off your shadow Pokemon. You've got around 3 days left. The new additions to the Team Rocket roster look fantastic. Unfortunately, I've not quite caught any that are worth investing into yet, but the grind will go on. On a more positive note, today we have the craziest battle submission I've ever had the privilege of shoutcasting, courtesy of my good friend Summers, aka Cutlass Boy. He has taken us on an adventure through type-ins in the Open Ultra League. As you can see on the screen, there are 18 types currently available in Pokemon Go. The challenge that Cutlass Boy set is quite simple. He's going to use a team consisting of the same typing, all 18 of them versus the Ultra League meta. For example, the first team, as you can see on the screen, is going to be a full Ghost team. He's then going to attempt this challenge with the 17 other typings, Fire, Rock, Grass, etc. This of course was by no means an easy feat. Without any further ado, let's get into the battle. And in game 1, Cutlass Boy leads his full Ghost team with Dragapult into Typhlosion, a very nice lead. As the Dragon subtyping does mean we do resist the Incinerate damage, the opponent makes a very nice Breaking Swipe catch onto Walrein. Summers, undeterred, gonna fire off the second Breaking Swipe, fishing for that debuff. The second Breaking Swipe goes unshielded, and here comes Gengar. The opponent farms up to a potential Earthquake. Cutlass Boy looking to call the bait. Gengar looking very happy with its huge cojones. Cutlass Boy then farms up, fires off the Shadow Punch, removing Walrein from the field of play. Back out comes Typhlosion. The opponent looks for that Incinerate farm down, but Gengar still not done. Fires off the Shadow Punch, forcing the opponent's first Protect Shield. Cutlass Boy sends back out Dragapult to operate as the damage sponge, as we will fully wall this energy, although a Blast Burn will hit for a lot of damage. We also got denied there coming in, which certainly isn't how the game's supposed to work. But undeterred, Cutlass Boy snipes Typhlosion with Golurk, getting a very nice running start, and out comes Swampert. Swampert has a typing advantage in this matchup due to Golurk's sub-ground typing, but Cutlass Boy with a 2-to-1 shield advantage, very much sitting in the driver's seat. We force the opponent's final Protect Shield. With the Shadow Punch, Cutlass Boy can easily just shield up the double Hydro Cannon, Mud Slap farm down, and the triple Ghost team is going to emerge victorious. GG's! In the next battle, Cutlass Boy is going to be unleashing his team of bugs against the Ultra League bug. Pretty dreadful offensively. I don't really know what they can do to make bugs better. It's just an unfortunate spot they're in. We lead Gliscopod into Togekiss. We fire off the Liquidation. Cutlass Boy then pivots into Ribombee. I have never seen this thing in the Open Ultra League in my life. I imagine it's very classy. Cutlass Boy shields up the Ancient Power. The opponent getting some lag, but we're not complaining. Out comes Gator. Gator going to be greeted with the Bug Buzz to the face. Bug Buzz goes unshielded, and we get the debuff. Cutlass Boy able to fire off the next Bug Buzz, winning the charge attack priority, and the opponent invests a Protect Shield. Okay, Ribombee, I see you, buddy, putting in work. The opponent fires over an Ice Beam. Ribombee actually withstands the damage. It might be small, but actually showing respectable bulk. We see the pivot into Scizor. Scizor looking for that resisted Bullet Punch farm down, which we're unable to get before the Hydro Cannons are reached, and ouch, that hurt. The opponent sent back out Togekiss. Togekiss got farmed down. Out comes Venusaur. Cutlass Boy YOLOs the return. What a spicy moveset, and that did so much damage. The opponent going to be unable to double resisted. Vine Whip farm us down, so they're forced to throw. Frenzy Plant secures the knockout. Cutlass Boy can send out Gliscopod. Commit to the farm down. We actually try to make the catch for no reason whatsoever. But regardless, this game is still signed, sealed, and delivered. We shield up the Frenzy Plant, Shadow Claw farm down everything, and that's going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. In the next battle, we've got Team Dragon. Pick up a great lead, Dragalge into Poliwrath. Dragalge will be operating as the team's anti-Fairy type. Not only do we resist Fairy, we also resist Fighting, so a very nice lead. Cutlass Boy shields up the Icy Wind, returns fire with the Outrage. Outrage, force our Protect Shield back, and we see the pivot into Dragonite. Poliwrath might have slower pacing this season, but they're still able to outpace to the Icy Wind, and Cutlass Boy is now all shields down. The opponent then pivots out into Ampharos. Ampharos going to be greeted with the Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. Shadow Dragonite An extremely glassy Pokemon, but Brutal Swing will not get the job done. Cutlass Boy going to overfarm as much as he physically can and fire off the Superpower, looking to remove Ampharos from the field of play. Unfortunately, Superpower with a one-stage debuff doesn't secure the knockout, and we send out Dragalge to operate as the damage sponge. Dragalge giving this team some much-needed bulk, by far the bulkiest member of the squad. The opponent then pivots out into Cofagrigus. Cutlass Boy farms up, throws the Outrage on what looks like to be a charge attack priority. Outrage goes unshielded, and it is CMP. The opponent dumping their energy is key for us, as Haxorus is now tasked with 1v3 in the team. Out comes Haxorus. No messing around, we fire off the Night Slash, looking to remove Cofagrigus from the field of play. Poliwrath is still alive, and Ampharos is a potential third shield. Back out comes Poliwrath. The opponent does make that catch back onto Ampharos, but can Poliwrath reach a charge move? Poliwrath comes in, Poliwrath unable to reach the Icy Wind, and we emerge victorious. GG's. In the next battle, we've got a triple dark, double grass team, and of course we see a Glissapod. If this was a certain content creator playing these battles, I'm sure he would have top left by now, but undeterred, Cutlass Boy looking to play it out, and the opponent throws at really poor timing, giving us a free snarl. We're going to see Cutlass Boy invest the Protect Shield, looking to take back switch or force a shield in return. The opponent puts up that Protect Shield. Are we going to see Cutlass Boy go all shields down? Cutlass Boy thinking about it, actually opting to let Shiftry go down and look to get some energy somewhere. Cutlass Boy sends back out Greninja. Greninja going to be unable to get the Water Shriek and farm down. So we're going to fire off the Night Slash, fishing for the boost, which of course we don't get. Although, hold up, with the Bug type out the way, the second Grass type will be feasting as the opponent running a very cool Spice pick in the form of Kanto Golem, but Golem straight in and straight out, and just Ampharos remains. If the opponent's running Brutal Swing and Trailblaze, which apparently they are, they're going to be completely walled by Zarude. Cutlass Boy attempts to throw the Power Whip on the charge attack priority. The opponent takes the extra and also tank the damage, and they are left insanely low. Trailblaze still doesn't secure the knockout. We see the pivot into Greninja, these boosted Volt Switches tearing us apart, but Greninja able to Water Shriek and farm down, and we take that game. In the next battle, we've got Team Electric versus the Ultra League with Shadow Ampharos into Shadow Skuntank. Cutlass Boy instantly clicks no shield, and I've got a feeling we're not going to appreciate this damage. Ouch. The opponent fires off the Crunch, then send out Virizion. I would have liked to see Cutlass Boy bank the Focus Blast and instantly pivot into Zapdos, as Zapdos has the ability to one-shot Virizion from absolutely full health. The opponent farms up to a potential Stone Edge, and we see Cutlass Boy get baited. However, they then just go for another Sacred Sword, which is an easy tank for Zapdos. Cutlass Boy can heavily overfarm. I love this play for an optimal timing after 4 Thunder Shocks. If the opponent shields this move, which they do, Zapdos is doubled up and will be winning charge attack priority. The opponent opt to go all shields down. Cutlass Boy now has zone with a shield advantage versus the back line. The opponent makes a very heads up play, sending back out Skuntank, sniping Zapdos's remaining HP. Out comes Zone. Zone gonna shield up the Crunch as it is an insanely glassy pick, despite this one not being the Shadow variant. We're going to overfarm, fire off the Wild Charge, removing Skuntank from the field of play. It looks like Cutlass Boy looking to reset his debuff instantly. However, the opponent sends out Drifblim. Drifblim going to be straight in and straight out. Ooh, the opponent makes a very nasty catch. This opponent catching left, right and centre. We see Cutlass Boy go for the undercharge. Zone comes in, able to Volt Switch farm down, leaving with the Wild Charge. Who was worried? I'll be honest, me. I was worried, but Cutlass Boy picks up the dub. GG's. Very well played to both trainers. In the next battle, we've got Team Fairy. And firstly, I'd like to say respect to Summers running a full Fairy team without a single bloody Charmer in sight. I've just noticed I've also got the moveset wrong on the side. Excuse that. This is done completely on my mobile phone. I'm toggling between various applications. However, we saw a fantastic lead with Giratina, the entire team going to clap that thing. Ironically, Sylveon running Quick Attack will have the worst matchup. So we're going to save switcher here into this Cresselia. Cutlass Boy going to go straight for the Moonblast. Moonblast forces the Protect Shield. Sylveon actually really bulky, will survive any one move from this range. The opponent fires off the Moonblast, which does get us into the red, but the opponent going to be unable to Psycho Cut farm us down. Cutlass Boy going to full send another Moonblast, looking to move Cresselia from the field of play. We've now got Switch and a shield advantage. Out comes Swampert. Swampert looking for that Mud Shot farm down, but Sylveon still not done. Gonna fire off the Psyshock. Psyshock forces the opponent's final protection. We send out Clefable and the opponent is in absolute shambles. Clefable insanely bulky and the opponent now has no protect shields to hide behind. I guess the best use of Giratina is perhaps looking to catch this Moonblast. However, the opponent doesn't make the catch. This Moonblast will be nearly picking up the one-hit KO. The opponent recognises there's nothing they can do and they are going to concede the match. GG's. In the next battle, we've got Team Fire. Uh-oh, we're already in trouble as Gator comes on to the field of play. How do we deal with Gator? This thing is such a problem. Well, it would have been if the opponent decided to shield. They did not, so Cutlass Boy, like, thank you very much. Gonna go for the one shield. Full Incinerate farm now. We're actually running a full Incinerate team. Triple Fire, double Flyer. I have no idea what sort of lunacy this is, but I'm here for it. Out comes Giratina. Giratina, in theory, completely walls Typhlosion, but Typhlosion doesn't care about typings. We actually command a Protect Shield from Giratina and send out Talonflame. Again, we're in trouble if this opponent's got Ancient Power. We're praying they're on Shadow Sneak. What is with this mad Incinerate glitch as well? It looks like Giratina's using Incinerate as well, but I think it's on Dragon Breath, but this animation has got me tripping. I feel like someone spiked my morning coffee with some magic mushrooms because this looks really weird. Although we've got distracted, thankfully the opponent only on Dragon Claw. We actually see their pivot into Ho-Oh, gets an Incinerate Sneak. We're actually on Solar Beam as well. Not that we can Solar Beam Galarian Weezing, but it's a nice nuke for any potential water types. Cutlass Boy fires off the Brave Bird. The opponent's had enough. They concede the match, and we're going to move on to the next battle. Next up, we've got the fighters. The Legacy Karate Chop Primate. My God, am I grinding the Rocket version of this hard. I cannot wait to run this in Ultra League. It is going to hit so hard. Speaking of which, we're full sending a close combat. Does the opponent respect the damage? They do not. My God, if that was Shadow and Shadow Crime, that would be a clean one-shot. If you're an OG battler, you'll look at the moveset on this Poliwrath and you'll remember the days when this was actually the optimal moveset. I've still got a version of this built, and I think I might actually try it out myself. Mud Shot, Ice Punch and Dynamic Punch makes Poliwrath insanely spammy. We get that full Mud Shot farm down, leaving with a whole heap of energy. And if Virizion does return, it's going to get spammed to death with Ice Punch after Ice Punch. Cutlass Boy fires off the first one, forcing a Protect Shield. The first time we didn't throw out the best timing. However, the second time we do go for the correct one Mud Shot and the next Ice Punch. You can see Ice Punch, quite an underwhelming move. Virizion able to tank multiple of them, and unlike Counter, the Mud Shots are resisted and doing literally nothing. Cutlass Boy recognising the opponent, looking for that double kick farm down, goes for the wham bam combo play, pivots into Primate and forces a Protect Shield. Cutlass Boy going to put all his hopes and dreams on Cobalion with two Protect Shields sweeping the back line. This Virizion is still absolutely loaded. They were all the way at 100 energy, so we are going to have to at least tank one Sacred Sword. We shield the first, Virizion already at the second. Cobalion has very respectable bulk. Despite Sacred Sword being a decent move and super effective, you can see one doesn't even get us below half health. Cutlass Boy not messing around, looking to remove Virizion from the field of play, and does exactly that with the Sacred Sword. Out comes Drapion. Cutlass Boy farms up, throws the Sacred Sword, losing CMP, but the opponent can only hit us with Aqua Tails that essentially do nothing. I personally think Sludge Bomb Crunch is the way to go. A lot of people are on Aqua Tail for this matchup, but you can see it is such an underwhelming move. It just tickled Cobalion, reached the next Sacred Sword, and that's going to be all she wrote. GG's. In the next battle, we've got the full flying team. Toucannon running a very spicy moveset with Rock Blast and Flash Cannon. But I guess that makes sense, as this team is going to be insanely weak to ice, so at least Ancient Power and Flash Cannon will hit back for super effective. I'm quite surprised to see the opponent throw the Crunch the first time, perhaps fishing for that defense drop or an early Protect Shield. They get neither. Toucannon is actually the one forcing us early shield advantage. We fired off the Rock Blast. The opponent recognises we're probably going to go for another Rock Blast, and I'm willing to shield the second, as Rock Blast is a very underwhelming move. The opponent then fires off the Hydro Cannon, removing Toucannon from the field of play, and it is Zapdos time. Cutlass Boy could have fired off the Drill Peck, winning charge attack prior, but I like this play of over farming and looking to have residual energy good to go. Cutlass Boy over farms, finally unleashes the Drill Peck. Drill Peck does secure the knockout, and let's see what comes out. Oh boy, the opponent sends out Gengar. Gengar, an insanely glassy Pokemon. Drill Peck forces the opponent's first Protect Shield. Zapdos able to fire off the next Drill Peck. This will be picking up a clean one-hit KO. Get that Gengar off my screen. We send out Lugia to greet Tentacruel that is lurking in the back. As satisfying as that one shot on Gengar was, I know Cutlass Boy would be very sad as Gengar is one of his favourite Pokemon. So it's quite sad that we boomed it. Lugia fires off the Sky Attack. Sky Attack this season has been rebalanced. It does more damage for more energy. Cutlass Boy just going to let Lugia go down. The opponent actually go for the Acid Spray, which certainly wasn't the play. They do manage to Poison Jab farm down, but Zapdos going to be able to Thunder Shock, farm down Tentacruel, and we take that game. In the next battle, we've got the full grass team, and I think if you're going to run a triple grass team, you kind of need Tangrowth, because Tangrowth has coverage for potential flyers and fire types with that Rock Slide. Before it got double nerfed, I think Tangrowth was such a cool pick. For those of you that played the early seasons, I know I keep harping on about the good old days. Tangrowth, when Rock Slide was at full power, was able to one-shot a Talonflame from absolute full health, as well as a Charizard. Nowadays, unfortunately, it doesn't quite have the same capability. Whenever Niantic do move rebalances, they kind of target specific Pokemon. Of course, the Break and Swipe nerf was aimed at Steelix, the annoying Steel Snake. Steelix is still pretty good, and one like Heliolisk and Haxorus are pretty much non-existent now. This season's Rock Slide nerf was definitely aimed at Dunsparce, because I think Dunsparce would be very overpowered. It's still pretty good. Imagine if Rock Slide was as good as it was last season. Holy, I've got distracted. We almost get boomed with the Ice Beam, and it's now Tangrowth versus the Wild. This must just be a Hydro Cannon, as we see the instant No Shield deployed. It indeed is a Hydro Cannon. Cutlass Boy looking for that farm down, which we're unable to get before the next Hydro Cannon's reach. Cutlass Boy forced to burn the final Protect Shield. The opponent's final Pokemon is Donphan. You couldn't ask for a better Pokemon to see. When you're running triple grass, we fire off the Power Whip. Power Whip goes unshielded. The opponent looked to call the bait. We didn't bait. We Vine Whip farm down for Alligator and emerge victorious. Heading into the next battle, we've got a triple ground team. My God, let's hope there's not an Ice type. The opponent got some unfortunate lag in the opening matchup and then pivot into Tapu Fini. The irony of our two Dragon types being better into this Fairy than Golurk is kind of funny. Of course, Tapu Fini primarily operating as a water type attacker as opposed to a Fairy. Cutlass Boy shields up the Nature's Madness. He's forced to full send an Earth Power as we're running Twin Nukes. Earth Power picks up the knockout and out comes Giratina. Cutlass Boy gonna farm up. Look to throw on the charge attack priority, but the opponent continues to farm up, which is the correct play. We now send out Golurk. Golurk going to come in. The opponent still farming up energy. What are they farming up to? I have no idea. Shadow Punch forces the final protection. And we see the pivot into Garchomp. The opponent getting torn apart by the Dragon Tails. Typhlosion not going to appreciate this Sandtomb. Sandtomb a dreadful move, but still enough to move Typhlosion from the field of play. Back out comes Giratina. It looks like Cutlass Boy looking to call the Ominous Wind bait. The opponent does throw the Ominous Wind. Two further Dragon Tails put them into one Mud Slap range. Golurk Mud Slap the farms down Giratina, and we take that game. In the next battle, we've gone from being triple weak to ice to running a triple ice team. The opponent save switches into Feraligatr. Cutlass Boy looking for the chip and dip, fires off the Drill Run. Drill Run goes unshielded, and we see the pivot into Walrein, potentially looking to catch a Hydro Cannon. Of course, we were unsuccessful in the catch, but unless the opponent has Crunch, they're kind of forced to go for Hydro Cannon regardless. The opponent does have Crunch, but you can see a non-stab Crunch really isn't the move to go for. I personally think Ice Beam is certainly the way to go in Ultra League. A resisted Hydro Cannon essentially does about as much as a neutral Crunch. The opponent invest the Protect Shield, save Gator at low health, and send back out Clefable. Clefable greeted with the Icicle Sphere, and we send back out Sonic the Hedgehog. Clefable has access to Meteor Mash that would hit for neutral against Sandslash. However, this opponent clearly doesn't have it as they YOLO the Moonblast. They must be running the updated variant with Swift. However, if this is only a Swift, it certainly won't knock out. The opponent throws the Swift. Sandslash withstands the damage, returns fire with the Drill Run. Drill Run forces the Protect Shield. Sandslash says there's plenty more of where that came from. Gonna release the next Drill Run. Drill Run isn't quite lethal, but we're able to Shadow Claw farm down before the opponent gets the Fairy Wind farm down. Back out comes Gator. Gator gets the Shadow Claw farm down. Cutlass Boy sends back out Walrein. We're actually choosing to shield here. I was kind of expecting us just to let this go and put it all on Regice. We then pivot out into Regice, looking for that lock-on farm down. Gator so spammy, only taking 5 Shadow Claws, 2 each Hydro Cannon and 6 to the Crunch. The opponent fire off the Crunch. We don't see a debuff. Even with this Hydro Cannon, Regice are very bulky, going to be able to withstand the damage. The opponent fire off the Hydro Cannon. Regice gets that lock-on farm down. Oh no, trainer. Say it ain't so. Out comes Dragalge. We fire off the Blizzard. Blizzard near one shots. Regice gets that lock-on farm down, and we take that game. In the next battle, we've got the full normal team. Cutlass Boy actually told me this without a doubt was the hardest team to obtain a win with, hence some very interesting movesets and thinking outside of the box. We see Alolan Golem in the lead, a very cool pick. Both charge moves on our Big Bear will be hitting for super effective, but of course you may as well throw the Trailblazer. It does come with a 100% chance to vamp up our attack. The opponent goes for back-to-back Rock Blast. Cutlass Boy able to reach the second Trailblaze. Trailblaze forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. The opponent really likes their Golem, and we send out Licky, far too thicky, to operate as the team's damage sponge. Shadow Ball Solar Beam is certainly an interesting moveset. The opponent sends out Alolan Muk. Unfortunately, we're not going to see a beam land. I really hope there's a beam. I haven't watched these battles, so I'm essentially just saying it as I see it. Both Snorlax and Licky have access to Earthquake, but neither Pokemon is running it, so we're forced to go for these Body Slams, and you can see just how bad a move Body Slam is this season. We're getting same type attack bonus on these, and we're getting Shadow bonus, and you can see they're just tickling this Muk. In fairness to the big thick boy, it has got Muk low and put it in a range where we can roll out Farm Down. The opponent not wanting to get Farm Down, send back out Golem. Golem going to be removed from the field of play with the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball easily knocks out from here. Back out comes Muk. Cutlass Boy looking for that rollout Farm Down. We are going to burn the final Protect Shield. Please be something like Swampert. Please, I beg. Please. That's not a Swampert, but it is going to be weak to the grass type coverage. Solar Beam picks up that one hit KO. Get that Gator off my screen. And after around 21 minutes, we found ourselves in a shambolic state, as always. In the next battle, we've got Team Psychic. Cutlass Boy is going to be well aware this thing has access to Shadow Ball as he was personally using it. The opponent baits with the Body Slam like a savage. Cutlass Boy not looking to bait, looking to YOLO the nuke through 2 Protect Shields, and there is the nuke landing. Licky hangs on a sliver of HP. Cutlass Boy able to tank the Shadow Ball onto Lugia, and out comes Gator. Gator, of course, isn't a ghost type, but it is using Shadow Claw that's going to hit the entirety of our team for big super effective damage. The opponent fires off the Hydro Cannon, removing us from the field of play. Cutlass Boy does have residual energy on his Gallade. Cutlass Boy farms up to the double Leaf Blade. The first Leaf Blade forces the opponent's first Protect Shield. Is the opponent going to 2-shield their Gator? Oof, yes they are. Cutlass Boy saves Gallade, makes the catch onto Slowking, but Hydro Cannon lands for some decent damage. We're already below half health, and out comes Machamp. Machamp going to be greeted with the Shadow Ball to the face. Shadow Machamp in Ultra League, not particularly bulky, but you can see objectively bulkier than the Great League where it is more commonly used. I love this play from Cutlass Boy, daring the opponent to full send a Stone Edge, which they do. Gallade has enough health now to shield up even this cross-shot bait. Psycho Cut farm all the way down and leave with the charge move to knock that Gator out. Back out comes Gator. Leaf Blade is super effective, but Close Combat does do more raw damage, and Close Combat picks up the knockout. Very well played. In the next battle, we've got the triple poison team, and we've got Slowking making back-to-back appearances. We see a fantastic lead, Venusaur into Greninja. The opponent say switches into Ampharos. I'm quite surprised to see Cutlass Boy not look to catch the charge move onto Drapion. Drapion should fully wall this thing, but my god, Ampharos made a very brief cameo appearance as Venusaur cleanly knocked out with a Frenzy Plant. The opponent sends out Talonflame, and we see the pivot into Drapion. Drapion gonna fire off the Crunch. Crunch won't be lethal, but Talonflames love to shield, and this opponent does shield the first, which I personally would not recommend. Of course, Crunch has a 30% chance to debuff your defense, so if you shield the first one, the second will do more damage, but it looks like the opponent was just looking to keep Talonflame health. They pivot out into Greninja, and this is the reason why I run Sludge Bomb. You can see massive damage onto Greninja. The opponent fires off the Hydro Cannon, picking up the knockup. Venusaur is going to be able to come in, tank any one move, Vine Whip farm down, leaving with the Sludge Bomb. Talonflame with only 1 Protect Shield, too hard behind. We actually Cutlass Boy, bank the Sludge Bomb, and send out Slowking. Even if the opponent's on Brave Bird 1, will not knock out. The opponent throws the Fly. Cutlass Boy throws 1 Hex and the Surf. Surf should be forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. Cutlass Boy could shield this move up. I'd recommend it. I don't think that's quite Sludge Bomb range. We shield up the next Fly, throw 1 further Hex and the Surf. Surf will be enough to knock out from this range. And I'm actually going to quickly look on PvPoke to see how much a Sludge Bomb does. According to PvPoke, it does exactly 50%, so that wasn't quite Sludge Bomb range. In the next battle, we've got the full rock team, and of course, when you're running triple rock, you're going to see a Gator. We can't really blame the algorithm, as Gator is here, there, and every fucking where. If this team has to see a Gator though, it's very nice the opponent has kindly aligned it onto our Golem that's using Volt Switch as a quick move. The first Rock Blast forces the opponent's first Protect Shield, able to force both Protect Shield, then pivot out into Lycanroc, and we're going to see the no shield. Does Lycanroc survive a Hydro Cannon? Oh man, just about. But we got Shadow Claw farm down afterwards. Lycanroc getting very little screen time today. Cutlass Boy sends back out Golem. Golem looking for that one shield. Volt Switch farm down, which we get. Of course, the opponent can't send back out that Kentucky Fried Chicken. Bird of Death, as that would be a Death Wish. They're forced to reveal their third, which turns out to be Giratina. We land the Stone Edge, then see the pivot into Regirock. The opponent probably thinking, this has got to be a joke. Where's my Talonflame supposed to go? Trainer, well, in my opinion, looks like a pretty good third shield. Regirock's always ranked really high in the Ultra League rankings, but it's quite underused. You can see it's insanely bulky. The opponent does send out Talonflame, sacrificing it to the Pokegod Stone Edge. Double super effective, easily secures the knockout. Regirock still not done. Going to release one further Stone Edge onto Giratina, with a look to make the catch back onto Golem. Even if the opponent undercharges this here, they unfortunately just cannot get rid of Regirock. I don't know if that was an undercharge or it just didn't knock out, but either way, we fire off the Rock Blast, securing the dub. GG's, and thanks for playing. In the next battle, it's Triple Steel, and what is Torterra doing on my screen? I don't think I've ever seen Torterra used in the Ultra League, but there's a lot of water types, so I suppose it has some pretty good anti-meta play, although Razor Leaf generates energy so slowly. Torterras generally run Sand Tomb and Frenzy Plant. You can run Stone Edge for coverage, but it takes you 6 years to get there. The opponent just fires off the Sand Tomb, which is an easy tank for our very bulky Steel Snake. Cutlass Boy fires off the next Breaking Swipe. This opponent desperate to keep Torterra around, but Steelix still not done. Reaches one further Breaking Swipe, leaving the opponent insanely low. Cutlass Boy more than happy with Steelix's contribution, elects to let it go down. The Sand Tomb actually still doesn't knock us out, so we see the pivot into our Steel Penguin and get the Waterfall farm down. I think Metal Claw's probably the better move this season. It's slightly better than Steel Wing. I think we're just running Waterfall in this scenario to give us some coverage when we're on a mono-type team. Steel is of course weak to ground, so running Waterfall does at least hit back, something that hits our entire team for super effective. Cutlass Boy tanked the Ancient Power. I've got no idea why the opponent threw the Ancient Power. Dragon Claw would be better DP, but I guess the opponent has their fishing line out, fishing for that boost. This opponent clearly needs to follow my religion of praying daily to them RNG gods as they go 0 for 2 on boost. Is this another Ancient Power? Yes it is. The opponent then sends out a Alolan Ninetales. My god, we're running Flash Cannon, gonna be massive overkill. Get that Ninetales off my screen. Giratina gets resisted, Volt Switch farm down, and we take that game. We've managed to get through 17 type-ins, only one remains, which is Water. Out of all these type-ins to run, I think Water would be the easiest. I personally used to run Triple Water in the Ultra League, not as a meme pick, just because it was a good team. I use Swampert as my anti-electric with Gyarados and Lapras in the back, two things that can deal with grass. However, Cutlass Boy running a much spicier team with Kingler. Has Kingler got any play? Not particularly, but here it comes. Let's go Kingler, show us what you've got. We see the instant shield deployed, blocking up the incoming Trailblaze. Cutlass Boy looking for that bubble farm down. The opponent finally pivot out into Dragalge, which should in theory completely wall us, but Kingler has a monstrous attack stat. The first Crabhammer lands. Cutlass Boy able to reach the second Crabhammer. Crabhammer does have a 10% chance to get the boost, but even if we got it there, it'd be pretty pointless as we die. However, just 2 resisted moves do manage to get Dragalge into the red health range. My god, have we just caught the outrage? Cutlass Boy, you savage. The opponent once again pivot out into a Alolan Muk, and I think that is a huge mistake. What the opponent should have done there was just let Dragalge go down, because like this, the opponent has no attempt at catching, as the timer won't be up by the time the second Hydro Cannon is reached. Cutlass Boy gonna heavily overfarm before removing Muk from the field of play. I think Wing Con for the opponent is going to be the fast move beatdown. Back out comes Dragalge. Dragalge gets Shadow Claw farm down. We leave with the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon is going to be all she wrote. I didn't actually realise Lotix was that healthy, so it was actually a closer game than I thought. GG Summers, aka Cutlass Boy. What an incredible showcase. This video has took me like 10 hours to put together. So if you appreciate that grind, smash that like button. In general, if you enjoy my content, drop me a sub. If you like your battles featured on my channel, link to battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.